You can't really give a fuck about what people say no more. Because everybody gonna fucking critique everything that you do, no matter what you do. That shit will creep into your mind, no matter if you believe it or not.
It's wasted energy.
Yeah, it's wasted energy.
What up, world? Live on there with Mr. Be Great today, Lamar King Sr. Glad you tapped in with me. Got my man Brent E. Thomas in the building. Y'all, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Hey, yo.
And I'd like to give everybody a chance to introduce themselves, man. Tell us where you're from, all that good stuff.
My name is Brett E. Thomas. I'm from Hardyville, South Carolina. Grew up in Hardyville and Orangeburg and then Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I've been waving since been waving.
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
I know you're a top tier elite waver in the game, man.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us what inspired, what's your inspiration, what got you into waving, how did you get started in the whole wave game?
Okay, my cousin, Christopher Promise, shout out to him. I was in the 7th grade, and that summer, I saw his hair. He had been brushing it down, just a little $3 brush from Walmart or something. He'd been brushing it down, and I asked him, how did he get his hair like that? And he told me, just brush all my sides down.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom, she took me to Walmart, and we got a wave enforcer, 555, my first brush, little boar bristle 9-row. Yeah, I started brushing. But actually before that, my grandma had gave me a Hollywood Beauty brush. And it was, throwback, man, one of them hard square brushes. But believe it or not, that brush was actually a hybrid brush where it had hard bristles on top, medium bristles in the middle, and then hard bristles on the bottom. I didn't even realize it until later on after I had been collecting for years and years. But yeah, it was my cousin Chris, the first one. He put me on game, showed me how to get them, showed me how to tie my do-rag, showed me how to add the grease and the hot towel and all that stuff.
Yeah. You didn't start out with that sporting waves, did you? I know that was my big thing back in the day. We had the black can,
we had that, the 360 and that Murray's and Dax and all that.
Yeah. No doubt, man. The wave community is big. For those who don't know, the wave community is a big community. I tried my little journey in the wave game because I'm definitely a course hair waver at one point. So it was a little bit more challenging, journey for me. So I didn't make it, my boy. But my hats off to you, man, for being consistent, staying down,
appreciate it,
still staying with it, man.
Yeah.
So, and I know a lot of people don't understand, the wave community. They don't understand that it's as big as it is.
Right.
So, like how big of an influence has the wave community been on you and your journey in the whole wave process?
It's been really big with the from the book that I wrote to, how I live my life. Like it's like you said, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And it's not, you don't get waves overnight. I mean, some people they might say, yeah, I got waves, and then you see their hair, they got about 40 waves, but it's really supposed to be connected. I mean, the most you have is maybe 15 or 20 if your hair real coily. The shorter your hair can curl, the more waves you can have. You know what I'm saying? Because waves just lay down curls, but yeah, they teach. It's a lot of, like you said, consistency, dedication, and finishing what you start with the different patterns and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. Especially here on there with Mr. Be Great today, it's all about consistency. It's all about being dedicated to the grind, man. And trust me, I tried the wave journey. I consider myself a very, dedicated and a very driven person. And I couldn't cut the mustard, as they say. You know what I mean? I didn't allow it. I'm gonna say that I didn't see it through. So, like, I know it's a lot of big names out there. You have put your name out there. You've been in the game. So how long have you been in the game away? How long outside? I know you started in high school, but overall, how long have you been in the game?
Well, I say I started taking it real seriously probably 2018, because I was around. We used to have forums where we go and just talk about waves, wave builder forums, and they had competitions, and they would have wave battles where you put your waves up against the next man and see who had the better connections, who got the best depth, the best crown area, who got the best brush work.
Yeah.
And I say about since 2018, because before I was selling brushes, our crown quality products, I was a brush distributor. And then I started paying attention to these guys. They was winning titles. Like it take between 62 to 90 days to win the wave title, like wave mogul or wave builder, wave king, pharaoh, most dedicated, best connections. There's different categories for the titles, but they're like, I compare them to like NBA championships because it's a sport for real. We looking at it as a sport, but I mean, we're really styling our hair, but it gets pretty heated.
Yeah.
From time to time within the wave community, within the groups.
No doubt, I know, no doubt, and I like again, like when I got into the game, I probably started back. I would say probably during the pandemic or pre-pandemic, like 2019. I started, trying to lay my hair down, trying to get it right, going through all the process, all your routines and whatnot. And there's some big, yourself included. There's some big names in the community, like out of Sir Cruz, Poppy Blasted, 360 Jeezy. Or have you collabed with any of those guys on your journey in the wave community?
Oh yeah, we crossed paths a lot.
Yeah.
Like when I had that big brush you shouted out.
Yeah.
Sir Cruz, he did like a reaction video to it, and 360 Jeezy, we see him on a regular basis in the group. He's real active in the community, and he cuts hair, and he's even on a wave team, and he go live every other day, and he just chop it up, and we in there brushing our hair, just talking about waves, talking about hair health, talking about the different methods, the different oils, the different brushes, the rolls, the bristles. You got the goat hair, the horse hair, boar bristle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty endless. But yeah, I see those guys on a regular basis, and they still real active. Like Sir Cruz, he done grew his hair out real long, but I mean, he's solidified. You know what I mean? They got the Wave Hall of Fame, and he's been in there since I want to say 2014.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I did a show talking about how stop being humble and be arrogant.
Yeah,
and
I listened to it.
Yeah, and I would say Sir Cruz, he is arrogant and he's confident. I would say more confident than arrogant in the game and what he's doing. And I tip my hat to you guys because it's a job. It's a grind. It's a whole process as far as getting your hair to the late, like you say, waves are just laid down curls.
Right.
Me being, my hair is very coarse and I got real tight curls. So my wave, I could never get the big Sir Cruz waves. I don't have my hair texture is not like that. You know what I mean? So
right.
Let's talk about the different types of waves. And I know you got the 180s, you got the 360s, you got the 540s, you got the 7, all that stuff. So what's the difference in, the different types when I'm, it's talking about from 180 to all the way up to 720 and whatnot?
Okay. Well, 180s pretty much just waves on top. You just brushing, straight down, but you're not even brushing straight down. You brushing at an angle. You got an angle over here, angle there, and an angle down the middle, but there's no crown area or focal point in the back of your hair to brush from. Like that cowlick that's in the back that's naturally growing a swirl.
Yeah.
We call that the crown area. So 180s is just a wave on top. 360s is look like a beehive. Like if you drop one drop of water in a pond and it hit that pond, you know how the ripples spread out? It's full circles all the way around. That's 360s. And 540s is normally a swirl in the back. You might have a slant in the back or straight top, or you can have a slant on the top and then have a straight back down, but you got waves all the way around, but it normally swirls out of that crown area to make that 540 pattern. And then with 720s, the waves are vertical. So they coming straight down, straight out the crown, all the way around. You got the straight, but the side is going, you brushing it sideways to make it go straight. Then you got 50, 60s. Some people, they make a part in their hair and brush this side down, and then the other side, they brush it across and have a little part in the middle, but it's waves connected all the way around. And these days, they got guys with dreadlocks in the middle, and then they'll just brush all the sides down and wrap it around. Got dreads and waves, or locks and waves.
I've even seen them where they got their beard got waves in them.
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention that. These guys got waves in the beard. They putting pomade in their beard and they brushing it down. And the guys with the coarse hair or the coily hair, it looks better to me because you can get more waves at a shorter length, and you can cut your hair against the grain and still have waves there, as opposed to somebody with wavy hair or curly hair where they can only have maybe 4 or 5 big waves. So they got less room for error. And sometimes the battles are judged like that, fork to wave ratio, things like that.
Gotcha. And you said, you just mentioned forks. It's a lot of lingo, like within the wave community. It's a lot of stuff because even when I got in, there was, forks and all that different stuff. Like, what are some of the lingo, some of the terminology you guys use that most common people won't understand? Like they won't get it. So like, what are some of the common terminology or lingo you guys use in the wave community?
Okay, forks are one, and a fork is pretty much just a crash in your waves. When two waves collide or two waves go, and then there's another wave that come in the middle that creates that fork.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you don't want, because it's an incomplete pattern. You want to be able to make it so that the waves, they flow around your hair and they don't crash into each other from your crown area. We use the term wolfing, which means growing your hair out, but while you're growing it out, you're maintaining your pattern. So you can let your hair get longer and higher, but you're still combing that new growth underneath down close to your scalp, and you're lining it up and making it flow and connect how you want to see it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like every pattern is like a fingerprint. Mm-hmm. They do have, like you said, a 180, 360, 540, but it's not written in stone. Like, you can still brush your hair, and however it comes out, it's going to be individual to the waver.
And I found out, even on my wave journey, I found out, it's not all about just brushing, right?
No.
What's the importance of combing your hair when you're trying to, get your waves to get elite like yourself?
Yeah, now that's the combing. It helps with scalp stimulation, help with hair growth. You get to the root of your hair, and that comb is going to help distribute product. It's going to help train your hair to lay how you want it to lay. And it's best to have 3 brushes. You have one, you have a comb, then you have a hard brush, a medium brush, and a soft brush. The hard brush train, the medium brush is your workhorse. You're going to use that the most of your session. Mm-hmm. And then the soft brush is the polisher. And that's what's going to give you depth. It's going to help give your waves definition, and it's going to help lay down frizz.
It's a lot, man. It's almost to a science. You guys have this thing down to a science, man. And
it really is.
And I can only, in the hard work and the dedication, the consistency, the consistent grind that you have to put in the work to make sure. And you said y'all have these forums where you have the Hall of Fame. You have it's almost like, the BET Awards of wave, and you get, you got all these categories. You got so as an elite waver as yourself, what type of work ethic? What would you say would be the key to your work ethic, your consistency to be in that category with people like Sir Cruz, 360 Jeezy, Poppy Blast? Like, what is it that really separates the elite waver from just a guy who's just, just brushing his hair on a daily basis?
The time put in, and the precision. Because you can brush your hair for hours and hours, but if you're brushing the wrong angle, you still gonna create forks, or you still gonna create crashes. But if you brush the proper angles over and over, long periods of time, you will get to that elite status. You know what I'm saying? It is possible, but it's mostly time, and especially during the pandemic, people had crazy time. People working from home, or they just, they learned so many different methods and techniques that these guys are really putting it to that time to good use. But it's mostly time, because throughout your journey, you're going to learn your hair porosity. You're going to learn the different, which oils work best with your hair, how your hair reacts to the different products. And that is mainly time and brushing the proper angles.
Gotcha. And then you say the proper angles, like you have to, like I found out, like the reason why I was getting so frustrated, because I was getting forks everywhere. So basically you got to brush your hair in the same pattern, the same way, every single time.
Yes, sir.
Like, you got to have the right strokes, and then, so how, like for a new waver, that's trying to overcome different things and trying to get past the forks and trying to start into what would be the best advice you would say to a new waver that's want to jump in there and try to get them dogs, as we call it, back home? You want to get the dogs in your head. So what would be your number one tip to a new or beginner waver?
I would say always use 2 mirrors. Because it's a lot of people blind brushing. They just brushing their hair, looking in the mirror, and you trying to brush the back of your head. You looking at the front of the mirror. You gotta reverse, put your back to the wall mirror and hold that mirror in your hand so you can see what you're doing in the back. And it's all about the precision brushing. You want to hit those angles. Like if you're trying to get a beehive, there's 8 angles. You brush like a compass. You got your mains, north, south, west, east. And then you got your sub angles between those. So you brushing those angles, and you use 2 mirrors. I would say just every time you have a session, whether it's 5 minutes or an hour long, use 2 mirrors the whole time so you can see what you're doing, see where you're placing the hairs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you took your wave journey to the next level. Me myself, I'm a self-published author myself. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
And y'all make sure y'all go cop that book. It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. It's everywhere. It's on every platform. Tell us about the book and the journey and the effort it took, and the reason why you wrote the book.
Well, I started campaigning, and I started taking the wave seriously. I started looking at these guys winning all these titles and awards and accolades, and I thought to myself, I won one. And I told my wife, I said, I'm gonna write a book. And she said, because you won one campaign, you think you can write a book? And I said, say less. And I started campaigning, man. I won about 20 titles. I got about over 30 wave accolades. Then I made my book. But as I campaigned and as I won those titles, I would make notes. I would write down the tips that I was sharing with people, the different problems that I was running into. I would break down how I did different things to help my waves be able to compete. And I felt like, man, the world needs to know about this. It's an underground community. When you take your wave cap off and all your waves connected, it's a distraction. People are like, my God, I want my waves to look like that. Like, how you get your waves like that? And a lot of people from Africa, from the different countries, hey, how to make the waves. They hit me in the inbox, how to make the waves. And I was like, there's a market for this, and it's something that I can create and put on autopilot. And I just wanted to where I could check accounts, but I also wanted to help people, and I wanted to make time for myself so I could brush my hair. And I'm not trying to work a 9 to 5 and compete with the waivers. It can be done, but if you want to be a top 5 out of 20,000, some groups have 20,000 members, 60,000 members, 10,000, 8,000, 5,000, but they have a banner every month, and it's the top 10, the top 20 battle for the 10 spots. And then once you make it on the banner, you get bragging rights, you get money, you get prizes, you get products, you get that prestige, you get that stamp that you're serious about the craft.
And I can only, and I, especially from my platform, especially here on the album, Must Be Great Today, I try to tell people that there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Right.
And I look at you, and I look at you in the top wavers in the game. You guys have taken the art of brushing your hair and turned it into a business. Like you have turned something that we've been doing for years. I remember, back in middle school, high school, we definitely didn't have it down to a science as you guys have. And just like anything, it's evolved and gotten better and better and better. But this just goes to show you guys that you can take something as little as, or as big as brushing your hair and turn it into a profitable business and turn it into something that you could, feed your family with, become, financially free, be your own boss, so to speak.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure you guys get sponsorships. You guys are, what is affiliate marketing? You become ambassador for brands.
Ambassadorships,
yeah. So are there any brands that you're actually ambassadors for right now today?
Well, no, actually, I got my own brand. So I shout out myself, the Surefire Youth. I got the books. We got merch. I got some puppets. I created a wave team with the puppetry. So I gave my puppet waves, the first puppet with waves. I created a whole team of them. So we got some white wavers. We got some wavers from Iraq. We got some wavers from Africa. I'm still working on a series and I'm going to incorporate the book. It's a whole, I got this one character His name is Wamocha, and his whole body is wavy. Like, he got waves all the way down his arm, down his leg, down his back, and he sleep on a bed of bull bristles. That's
Oh,
that's
man.
the story.
Yeah. Oh man, you're super creative, man. Hats off to you, man. And I'm
Appreciate
telling you,
that.
man, that we have to, and that's why I try to tell my audience, I tell my people that, man, you got to think outside the box. You got to, and once you find something that you're good at, that you're passionate about, or
Right.
even if you're not as passionate about it, just go for it. Give it 100%. Stay consistent. Stay down.
Yeah.
Come up, and you can take it to the next level that most people are afraid to do. Most people
Right.
want to, again, humble themselves down, stick to the norm, and afraid of what people might think. Because people, I'm pretty sure there's been some type of negative energy that comes from, oh man, you're a waiver, you're a grown man, how what
Right.
you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you come through that. Like, what is your biggest advice for someone who's trying to step outside that box and step into an area where people don't seem to be so enthused about, or think it's not a real job, as they would say? What would be your biggest advice for someone who's trying to step into something, and not necessarily waiting, but anything just outside the norm?
Yeah, I say keep going. Put 100% into it and keep going. Because a lot of times when you are the pioneer of something, or you like you said, think outside the box and you actually go for it, you can't worry about what everybody else thinks. That should be none of your concern what other people think of you. And I listened to your podcast today, and it's like, when you humble, you get overlooked, you get underpaid. You know what I mean? You don't want to make noise, you don't want to say nothing, or if you don't want to be criticized, then don't do anything. But then you're just a vegetable. It's like, no matter what you do, somebody gonna say something. I just watching this YouTube about Michael Jordan, and they was talking about the top 10 things that he spent money on, but like the number 2 thing was charities, how much he gave back, the hospitals that he built. He built these hospitals in New York, and he built North Carolina, or I think his hometown, and he built one in Chicago, built some schools, gave back to the homeless, but they never shout that out. But he still did it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you just got to do it anyway and go for it. Not necessarily let people tell you no, but they're gonna say whether it's thumbs up or thumbs down. But it's always some kind of niche or something that you can do, and it's 30,000 other people that's like, man, I love doing that too. Like, oh man, you riding skateboards and fishing, man, we do that every weekend. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you never know.
And again, it's just about reinventing yourself, being confident about what you want to do in life, and blocking out I love that when you said that, what other people's opinion is none of your business. Like,
right.
Whether you're doing good or bad, they're gonna talk about you anyway.
Yes.
So you might as well go ahead, and when you pioneer something like you have, you got puppets. You've written the Wave Bible. Like, that's big, bro. Like, that's an amazing feat that most people, they probably thought about it, but when you're a pioneer of something, when you're the first to the market with it, man, the sky is the limit. The stars are the limit, because you're the first one in it. It's kind of like stocks. If you get into a new IPO, if you're the first one in it, just like if you had bought some Amazon stock in 1996 when they dropped, when they were going, when they were under, you can only go up. And I think we have to get outside that comfort zone and challenge ourselves and push ourselves to go to the next level. Because I promise you, either you're gonna work for, either you're gonna live your dreams, or you're gonna work for someone else's dream.
Right.
One of the two. You know what I mean? So what's next? What's the next thing? I know you got the puppets, you got this, you got the book. Is there the Bible part too? Is there,
Yeah. Well, right now we're working on the New Testament, Legendary Waves.
Okay.
There'll be more tips, more methods, more insight, more pictures, more coarsehair wavers, coily, kinky, wavy, curly. I'm working on a brush right now, my own brush line, but it's gonna be, man, I got the mango wood with the horsehair. It's gonna have the OG spacing, the holder hole, finger dips. I'm waiting on the samples now, so I can't go in too much detail, but I got a whole line, the upper echelon collection.
Yeah.
And it's that's gonna be the next step for me as far as that. But eventually we want to get it to where we have a resort. We have some land, and we got the spa, and people coming in with the big mirrors in the bathroom, and the any brush you want to get, you know, we might give you one when you check into your hotel room type stuff, man. We got guys podcast and the merch is going crazy, and we just trying to combine our efforts and partner together and create just a whole empire for the future generations. And what I thought about with the Wave Bible also made me write that is because I was watching this documentary. They got this library in Timbuktu, but it's books that was there for thousands and thousands of years, so they outlive us. You know, it's millenniums. Like my grandkids gonna be able to pick up the Wave Bible and go from ripples to full connection waves off of something that, you know, I wrote 1,000 years ago, 1,000 years from now. You know what I mean?
Man, that's dope, man. That's dope. And I, you know, when I first, like again, my brief journey in the in the wave game. Yeah. And you're one of the first guys I followed because you used to go live a lot. Like you would come on brush with me. You would be brushing for hours on live with your two mirrors and whatnot. But then you had this super brush. Like, tell us about the super brush. Like,
okay. It's a funny story because I was around like 2009 to 2014, and I left the wave pages. And I came back in 2018. I started taking real serious and learning all the methods and all that. So, but when I came back, there was a guy named Leo Ramos, Brush King. He created the royalty brushes and the Torino Pros. Mm-hmm. The Wave Game gave him the name Brush King, but I didn't know that. So when I came back, I knew his name was Leo Ramos, but I didn't know they was calling him Brush King. And because my brush collection was so big, I started calling myself the Brush King. So people was like, hey man, how you gonna call yourself Brush King and you gonna take somebody's name and they done built this big empire and you just gonna show up out of nowhere? But it was a lot of new people. You know, I'm sitting there thinking, who are these new guys? They looking at me like, who's the new guy? But I'm like, man, I've been around. Like, who are you? So I said, oh, y'all mad? Y'all gonna be super mad once I make these super brushes. So I just searched around and I found these, I call them unicorn bristles, but it's just some long, like broom straws. And I took some paintbrush bristles, and then I took some prop foam. I cut some holes in there, and I added my logo to it. I painted it up. I added about 10, 15 layers, and I went to my alteration shop, and I got a do-rag, and it was 6 feet long, and I had the lady make me a do-rag. Shout out to Susan Sewing. I said, now y'all gonna be Superman. Now I'm the Super Brush King. And I kept saying, y'all not having fun. It was just about the drama, you know, wanted to talk about people. And I wanted to talk about ideas and how can we make waving fun. Yeah. So I was saying, you ain't having no fun. And I made it I coined it. You ain't having no fun. And then now I'm saying fun zone era. Every time I would drop a post something, fun zone era. That's why I came up with the super brush, because people was mad because I was calling myself the Brush King. Man. And now I say, now y'all gonna be super mad.
And way to turn a negative into a positive. Because again, when I was a part of a lot of those wave groups, you know, because I was trying to learn. I was a beginner, and I was coming in, and of course, being a beginner, you don't want to. Because I've seen so many people post their ways and get crushed, you know. And hats off to you for being one of those pioneers in the game. One that's going to be like, hey man, stop not, because you started at somewhere at some point. There's no need to try to bash a beginner, or a person who's just starting, or who's trying to learn, and it can be like that. But that's what it's all about, you know. Especially here on the Mr. Be Great today, it's about being positive, about being optimistic. It's about encouraging and each one teach one. It's about helping and pulling someone up. I definitely want to commend you on that. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that.
But definitely. But y'all definitely go get that Wave Bible, man. It's on every platform. Give it to your kids. Give it to your people in the schoolhouse or whatever. But we got to pay some bills right quick. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. Y'all be great today. Peace. All right, we back. Bible Network. Let's be great today. Lamar King Sr. Got my boy Brett E. Thomas in the building with us. We're just gonna jump right back in, and we talked about some of the, you know, the wave process as far as starting out getting waves. And you mentioned woofing. I know woofing was a big step for me as far as when I started seeing the most, you know, progress in my waves. Mm-hmm. So, you know, redefine woofing for them again, and how long should a person woof? And you know, what's the process of that, and what's your regimen as far as when you're woofing?
Well, wolfing is growing your hair out and maintaining your waves at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
What you want to do is you want to do it in steps or levels. So you want to wolf or grow your hair maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Then you get a light trim, get that hair off top, because the most important hair is at the bottom, because it's constantly new hair and you want to get the hair, train the hair closest to your scalp. So you go about 4 weeks, trim, grow your hair out again for about 6 weeks, get another trim, then you do it again, another 4 weeks, then you get a full haircut, but not too low, but you want to go lower than the trim, you know what I mean, and get it nice and even all around. And as you go through these wolfing sessions, because it could be from anywhere from 2 weeks to about 10 weeks. You go without a haircut, but you can still get a lineup, and the barber get the scissors and cut them stragglers.
Mm-hmm.
But you just continue to do it, and the more you do it, you'll get better definition, better depth. You'll be able to see your waves from farther away. When it lay down, it's going to be a showstopper when you take your do-rag off.
Mm-hmm.
People finally see your brushwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a process that's highly recommended to get top tier waves.
Yeah, and then especially like compression, you want to, because I know I used to have to, put a wave cap and a skull cap, and because of course my hair, it was hard to control my hair, and I know a lot of people get, especially when they're beginning, it's hard to get some type of control because your hair is trying to go every which way.
Yeah.
So I definitely. So what about compression? Do you wear 2 do-rags and a skull cap, and what as far as your compression regimen?
Well, yeah, I got the wave cap on now, and that's pretty much old school stocking cap. We used to take the stocking cap and tie a knot in the top of it, but I put that over my wave cap, and the difference is the do-rag has ties and the wave cap has no ties.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to put your wave cap on top of your do-rag because the wave cap will absorb product faster. You don't want to dry your hair out. You want to get a silky material so that when you take it off, it's not going to lift your hair. It's going to keep your hair laid down. And it's normally best to wear it at night while you're sleeping. You don't want to go out your house with your do-rag on. But even though in today's game, they made it where they got the designer rags and the rag match your socks and the socks match your shoes and all that. But you really want to show off your brushwork and take that do-rag off when you go somewhere. Show people that you've been in the lab, that you've been brushing and you got your connections right. The compression is just going to save progress. So if you brush and you got a fork, you put that do-rag on, that fork's still going to be there. It's the combing and the brushing that breaks those forks, along with the wolfing and the hair growth, because your hair is going to lay to the shape of your head. So if you got a knot or a scar or a bump, the lower your hair is, the more that's going to show. But if your hair is higher, then your connection is going to look better. And it's going to, be good. But I mean, like you said, if your hair real coily, you could have a 1 and still see prominent, dominant waves. And that's going to be a testament to your brushwork. Yeah.
And I know, just like me, like I say, I didn't stay consistent enough. I got frustrated because I wasn't getting the results, because I guess I wasn't putting in the time that I needed to get to that next level as far as waves. And I know some of my friends probably hearing this like, man, you ain't never had no way. You need to stop your best. But like, how do you stay motivated, Brett? How do you stay consistent, and what keeps you going to get to the point that where you are able to win all type of accolades and all types of titles within the wave community? How do you stay motivated in this whole wave process?
Well, it's always been fun to me. I never took it too serious. I mean, it does get pretty heated. It does get serious. And like you said, some people, they make a living off of it. Like you said, Poppy Blasted, Young Jeezy, like they make YouTube videos, and like these guys driving around in Lamborghinis and, buying houses and stuff. It's the fun for me. It's therapy. When I do a brush session, I don't always have to close myself off or be cooped up in the bathroom. I might just get a space under a light on the wall, put a mirror on the wall, have a mirror in my hand, and it's therapy to me. It's just always been fun, and I just enjoyed the results. So I just continue to do it, and I thank, God that I still got hair, because I'm in my 40s, man. Like, it's a lot of people my age ain't got hair, and they can't wave even if they wanted to, unless you got your beard wavy or something like that. But Yeah, man, I still got hair, so it's like only time will tell if I can keep going. So right now, while I got it, I'm just motivated. And actually, I used to play basketball a lot, real heavy too. It just kind of took that basketball drive, and my knees hurt now. Hell, I got my knees about 70, so I had to find a different hobby, man. Something that was less hard on my body.
Yeah.
And waving just happened to be that hobby. Yeah, I'm a wave. I'm trying to take waves to the grave, man.
I feel you, man. Especially like me coming, because I have coarse hair, and coming up in a young, I never really could get the mold or get my hair to where it would lay down and to the wavelength or whatever. And I have a lot of friends that all through school, high school, young adult years, they were, they had them dogs. But now today they thinning out, and all my theory is that they brush their hair out their head, like they. My theory is that they brush too much, and now they thin, especially right here in the corners, and it's thinning. Does brushing do that? Like for people, or I know it's hereditary. I know some people have some hereditary hair loss, but would you say brushing does it contribute to hair loss, or that's just a crazy theory of mine?
No, I would say over brushing. Now, if you brushing to the point where you got brush burn, where your head hurt after a session or something like that, either you pressing too hard when you making your brush strokes, or you just brushing too much, too long, because you're supposed to let the bristles work. So they shouldn't flex and be flat on your head when you pull your brush. They should just snap back in place, and you should just be trying to pull hair. You know what I mean? A lot of times we switched over now. It's natural. Everybody using olive oil or avocado oil, and they're not using petroleum and the mineral oil, the stuff that will clog your pores. We kind of shy away from that because of, like what you said, it's destroying your scalp and clogging up your pores, making your hair dry out. So we going to the store in the food section, get the avocado oil, get some of that coconut virgin oil, and putting that in our hair. And a good way to train your hair, shout out to Jason Bryan, Young Wavy Forever. He should be on the Mount Rushmore waving. He created this method called a washing style, where you shampoo your hair and you brush your hair down while it's wet, easily malleable. And when you got the soap in there, you brush it all down, then you put your wave cap on, then you rinse it out, rinse the soap out with the wave cap on. Then after it dry, then you add your products. That way your hair be laid flat, trained, and you could do less brushing and still have elite type waves.
Gotcha. So you would say you say one of the main contributing factors was probably more or less the products that we were using back in the day. That Murray's and that 360, sport wave, and that stuff was pretty much clogging up, your hair follicles and making it, lose your hair or whatnot.
Yeah, wearing your do-rag too tight. But I mean, we still use pomade and grease here and there, but very sparingly. And you just want to use it in a small area to train that hair. But once it's trained, you want to leave that alone and use your oils. And we got, like you said, the entrepreneurs, these guys making products and moisturizers, leave-in conditioners. So we're pretty spoiled right now in the wave community because of the guys that's actually doing it. They're the ones making the products.
Gotcha, man. I tell you, man, I look at, I watch, of course, I see you was talking about YouTube earlier. I'm a big YouTube guy. When I was on my wave journey, it was YouTube, and I would go to your channel, I would go to 360G's, I would just, I'm still a YouTube fanatic. Anything I tell people all the time, if you want to find something out, it kind of, when I see people asking questions on social media, I'm like, just go type it in YouTube. You'll get the answer. I don't care what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, but you got the Wave Bible out. We got it. So where can they get the book? Where can they find it? And plug in your book right now. Where we can find the book at, Brett?
Okay, you got the Top Tier Waves Wave Bible on Amazon. You can get the paperback, you can get the ebook, you can also get the hard copy on Amazon, but the best place to get the hard copy is on Barnes & Noble. It's print on demand, so when you order it, they're gonna make it, they're gonna send it to your house. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Surefire Youth.
Surefire Youth. Yeah, man.
Sir.
Y'all go tap in with my guy, man. He has an amazing journey. He got. I was looking as I was doing some research before this show, man. I had one guy was doing some reviews, and he gave you some rave reviews on your book about how it just like step by step. So ladies, if you got sons out there that are trying to wave and they're, they want to buy your kids that book. That book is something that's gonna help them get what they want. Going to help them get them to the next level. So,
yes, sir.
Before we get up out of here, Brett, man, you got anything else you want to, share with the people before we get up out of here?
Okay, well, yeah, I just want to shout out the wave groups, the wave community that's on Facebook, the wave teams, the guys that's on Instagram, continuing the fun. The groups like Elite Spins, my group, Surefire Youth Wavers. We got Waves Our Life. We got a group now called Brush Connoisseurs, Brush Connections, Drip City. I hate to leave somebody out. Royal Elise. There's so many different groups and communities, but it's a lot of the same people within the groups. But there's also not a lot of the same people in every group.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And just shout out to those guys because they helped me make the book in the first place. I shot a lot of those guys out. I got pictures of them in the book, and it was just my way to say thank you for teaching me the ways.
Yeah.
And shout out to those guys. I definitely want to shout them out. Jermaine Banks with the podcast, and just my family and friends that understand. Like, hey man, I need that time to brush my hair. Let me do my thing. And they don't mess with me too much.
No doubt, man. I sure appreciate you coming on the show, man. It's been an honor to have you on here. Someone who took it to the next level. Unlike myself, that's why I got the ball cap on.
Nah, you can get there.
Definitely, I gotta get honed in. I gotta get in that book. Straight up, man. But thank you for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you for having me. Keep grinding, keep shining. Y'all make sure y'all go tap in with my boy. Go get that book, The Wave Bible, Top Tier Wave. It's on all platforms, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Thank y'all for coming in. We love you all. And y'all be great today. Peace.
Peace.